Hello, traders. Welcome back to another weekly Forex forecast with one man. If this is your first time coming across my channel, please subscribe and turn on post notification. So here, all we do is very simple. We look at what the large speculators are doing, what the institutions are doing from the data that they provide for us. What trades are they taking? What directions are they trading at? Coupled with pure technicals, price action to also base our trade decisions on. So without much ado, let's get to the chart. This week, we are looking at the dollar crosses, DXY, Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, NZD USD, USD CAD, and all the dollar crosses, right? So of late this year, things has been a little bit uh, up and down in the dollar due to Trump's tariffs and all those things. So I've been trying my best to be very careful when it comes to trading the dollar pace. But now it looks like things are getting settled. The tariffs are being called off, and so let's get to the chart. Let's first of all look at DXY top down analysis on the monthly. What can we see? We could technically see that DXY has been creating series of what higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Then when price got here, we are sort of in a range. Now, one thing about DXY, or one thing about most currency pairs, is they like to respect round numbers. They like to respect round numbers. So technically, is DXY was in this range. We were in this range over here, and price broke out. I was expecting the DXY to continue pushing all the way to this swing high, but price was closed back into the same range. Now the question is, are we going to finally break down, or this is also going to be a repetition of what happens over here where price sort of manipulates buys, and then here too it will manipulate sells and then get back into the range? We have to go to more lower time frames to sort of like, okay, look at what could be the outcome. But before we do that, we have to look at what the large speculators are doing. From our technical point of view, we are at a key level, or a key psychological level. When we go to what the large speculators are doing on the dollar, we could see from March 2025 this year, all that the large speculators keeps doing is week by week, they keep closing their long positions. They keep closing their long positions. And finally, we are entering into negative what? 974. Now, what does that mean if you don't understand? What it means is that when they are closing their long positions, it is technically, or it is making the dollar weak. And when the dollar, you know, begins to go weak, what it means is that any currency that it pairs against is likely to outperform the dollar. So when we go to the summary of this report, all we could see was that for short positions, technically, this past week, they've added 5,000 shorts. So adding more shorts simply means that what? More weakness. And then they've added only 2,000 longs, which tells us that from the large speculators' angle of trade, or their direction of trade, they are still expecting more weakness on the dollar. So if they are expecting more weakness on the dollar, it is good to also expect more weakness on the dollar, because these are the guys that are moving the market. So when we go back to DXY, all we could see is that um, this psychological number of 100, we had this 3 month where price continuously would crash down. Now the question is, will it continue to push down? Let's go to the weekly time frame to see if that will happen. Now on the weekly time frame, something nice is happening. On the weekly time frame, things are a little bit clean. What happened? We are in a very nice bullish trend, creating what? Higher high, and after higher low, we know that we are supposed to come for what? Higher. After creating a higher high, we know we are supposed to come for higher low and a possible what? New higher high. For those who are trend line traders, we could also see that what? There is a clean trend line supporting what? This bullish momentum to the upside. After our previous higher high, price dropped, and then all that it did was to consolidate or to range over here for a very long time. Then we had a breakout, which should come for, technical wise, should have come for a retest and continue to go higher. But all that we could see was this giving us a fake breakout. Why? Because after the breakout, the market closed back into the range again. And now we are also taking the lower range over here. When we look at this last week, we could see the presence of what? Buyers stepping in the market with this what? Bullish pin bar. This is a bullish pin bar. If you know candlestick, this is a bullish pin bar. So the question is, will this trend line, since it is happening on a higher time frame, from our quote report, the data is telling us that the large speculators are expecting more sales, which is that what they keep what? Closing their long positions and adding more short positions. But from technical perspective, we are at what? A key level of support. So even though the large speculators are adding shorts or closing longs, technical is telling us what? We are in a key level of support. And when we are in a key level of support, we don't what? Sell. So what we have to do is we have to wait until price gets what? A level of what? Resistance. Now, leaving the leaving what the large speculators are doing to concentrate on just the price action, the question we have to ask ourselves is price going to close back into the range and then continue buying, or price is going to just consolidate below here, breaks the trend line, and then continue going down, which makes trading the DXY, or which makes the dollar a little bit complex, because now it has so many questions that we need to find solutions to before we can take trades, right? So when I want to go further to the lower time frame, which is the daily, all I could see is this trend line is technically acting as a support over here. Price broke the range and we are trading below the range. What happened? We created what? Series of what? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So following that short-term sells, we are supposed to keep creating lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, all the way to a key level of what? Support again. So for me, for me, all that I could see the DXY doing is to wait to see a clean change in structure. If I'm going to buy the DXY, if I'm going to start looking for longs because we are at a key level of what support, then I want to see what a complete change in structure. What do I mean? Since on a daily we can see a perfect downtrend, this level could act as a key level of um, support where if the DXY, so simply to put, if DXY is able to break back into the range, which is above the 100, wait for what? Correction, and then we can what? Look for what? Buying opportunities into, further upside. But if the XY is not able to close back into the range, then what it means is it is just going to consolidate around this area for a very long time and then it will keep going down. Yes, because the large speculators are expecting DXY to go down, we are also being optimistic that what DXY is going to go down. So on the dollar pairs, I am a little bit skeptical about the moves. I am not solely long and I am not also solely what short. The only time I can look forward long opportunities is when we are able to break above, retest the zone to give me what? A bullish bias to me to buy the DXY. So for DXY, it's a little bit confusing. The dollar is a little bit confusing. The dollar is a little bit confusing. But let's take it to it crosses and see what we can do. First of all, we look at what? Euro USD. And on Euro USD does the exact opposite of what the DXY is doing. So when we look at Euro USD, all I could see from the monthly perspective is what? This key swing level. This level is a level of what? Resistance, which we could see. Although the monthly candle has not fully closed, it looks like what? We are what? Breaking above. And if that breaks above, makes the candle to close completely, we have the potential to what? Move all the way to this next swing high, which confirms to what the large speculators are doing because they are expecting what? More weakness in the dollar. So when more weakness actually happens in the dollar, then Euro USD will continue to go higher. And since I don't try to trade against what the large speculators are doing, my bias on Euro USD is still to the what? To the upside. I am not going to short Euro USD at the moment. I am still expecting what? More bullish movement in the next month to the upside. So when I quickly move to the weekly time frame, all I could see in the weekly time frame is also what? The same concept where price was in this range. We had a fake out of this range, the same thing, and then we are also what? Taking out the upper portion of the range. Now the question is, since we are following structure and price has been creating high, low, high, this could act as a breakout retest for us to what? Look at more upside since the large speculators are expecting dollar to what? Continue to be weak. Then for me, I would just try and see if I can get an entry from a simple concept of what? Break, retest, and then continue going up. But since our entry time frame is not on the weekly, I have to take it to a more lower time frame, which gives me a cleaner structure. So you could see we were able to take out this zone where price is sort of like having a perfect trend line. So for me, like I said, I am more of going to look for longs since the large speculators are expecting weakness in the dollar. So for me, I will just wait for this bearish or this pullback, and I look forward a simple lower time frame breakout of this correction to get my buy all the way up. So what do I mean? So which means that when I go to the 4 hour, all that I'm expecting now is to see if we can have a third touch. So this is one, two. If you can have a third touch of this trend line for me to look forward more buy. So my bias on Euro USD is to the upside. But then we need to have a retest of this level, which means that all that I need to do is wait and wait and wait and wait and wait for price to push back, push back, push back. And once we get a breakout with confirmation, I am going to look for that buy over here. That's what will send me back all the way to my next monthly key swing. So since it is a swing trade and not just some scalping or daily trades, my bias on Euro USD is to look forward more upside. The only time this buy bias is invalid is when price keeps coming down and breaks back into the range. Then I can reassess my chart and look forward a potential continuation to the downside. But so far as this bullish bias is concerned and large speculators are expecting more dollar weakness, then I am expecting more bullish side to Euro USD. Let's quickly take it to the next pair, GBPUSD, and we could see what we can do on the GBPUSD. So on GBPUSD, technically the same. We should move all the way to this. Should move all the way to this swing high, this key level at 1.42. But then price is out at a key level over here. The question is, are we going to take out this zone and move? It's possible because the large speculators are also expecting weakness in the dollar. And when they're expecting weakness in the dollar, then what do we expect? We also expect price to continue to move in that direction. But what we could see technically is we have a key level of resistance, which price is currently at. After creating series of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, we are in a key level of resistance. So even when I am expecting a buy, I am not just going to look, I'm not just going to take a buy at a level of resistance. No. So what do? I go on a more lower time frame, which is on the daily. And on our daily, what can I see? Daily time frame is telling me that we are at a key level of resistance. And looking at structure, I could also have a nice trend line. So what do I mean? Price has the potential of correcting a bit to third touch of this trend line, which is going to give me my next leg up. So this is high, low for us to get the next higher high, right? So For me, technically, on the 4 hour, um, on the 4 hour, all that I am waiting for is this correction. So when I go to the 4 hour, I am expecting what? A correction back to this trend line before I look for what? Complete what? Buys. So I can try to scalp a sell opportunity. Why? Because we are at a key level of what? Resistance. And when we are at a key level of what? Resistance, there is a higher possibility for price to what? Pull back, which on a higher time frame, we know that price is going to create what? A low before we continue what? The next high. Hence, if I want to take an entry over here, all that I need to do is to go on a more lower time frame to look forward a selling opportunity to get price down before the buy. So if you want to be part of, or if you want to get how I look for those lower time frame entries to scalp some of the sells before I take the swing buy, then you need to what? Join my community as I send those trades over there for us to take. If you want to join my community, all you just have to do is comment with join, and I'll send you my Telegram group for you to what? To join. Aside that, technically, all that we need to do if you are looking for key trades is either we wait for price to push back, or we have a break, retest to continue buying. Overall, GBPUSD, we are expecting an initial pullback before the main move, which is what? To buy on a third touch of the trend line. Of course, after a confirmation. So technically, my bias on GBPUSD is to wait for correction before what? We buy. Let me quickly go to the next one, which is USD Swiss francs. Now, on USD Swiss francs, what can we see on USD Swiss francs? Remember, the large speculators are expecting weakness in the dollar. So, if they are expecting weakness in the dollar, it gives USD Swiss francs, as we are seeing on the DXY. Now, pairs that are directly correlated to the DXY is USD Swiss francs, and oppositely correlated is Euro USD. So if DXY continues to go down, then technically USD Swiss francs will also continue to what? Go down, because we are sort of what? Breaking this low, which can continue price all the way towards this previous low. So quickly we go to the weekly. And on the weekly, what can we see? We could see triple top break of this level. The question is price going to what? Range over here and continue going down? Quickly, on the weekly, there's nothing. We just have to go to the daily and see. Now, on the daily, what can we see? All I could see is that what? Simple price action break and retest to what? Continue going down. So we broke, we've retested. All we need is a candlestick confirmation to tell us that what? Price is ready to go down. Then we take the sells. When I go to my entry time frame, which is the 4 hour, all I could see on the 4 hour is structural wise, this was a low, this was what? Lower low, and then price on a 4 hour went to break what? This structural high. So on a 4 hour, price is sort of changing direction into buys, but on a higher time frame, price is still what? Bearish. So all I'm expecting is if price is able to close back here, I can take a sell, stop loss below, stop loss above the range high, and I can ride this trade. First TP, of course, is going to be the low, and then the second TP is going to be all the way to this swing high. So price break retest, look for bearish confirmation, and price will just what? Continue slicing down. So USD Swiss francs, my bias is to sell. But if price close back above what the range, then this sell bias is no longer what active, and we will start looking for what bullish what confirmation to rather go long. The next pair we're going to look at is USD card. Now, what is happening on USD card? Something very interesting. Now, when we look at USD card, an interesting pair, of course, all that we could say is what this pair has is also what in a very nice range. So what we could see is price moved, created a high, came back, moved to this high, came back, and we are at the same level. Now the question is, since this is acting as a range, will USD card be able to move all the way back here? The possibility is very high. Why? Because it has happened before, and since this is a range, the possibility of we coming down here is also very high. So for me on USD card, I am just solely going to be looking for selling opportunities all the way down. So but how are we going to take the trade? If you can afford a stop loss below, if you can afford over 1,000 pip stop loss, you can take this trade and then expect it to run all the way down. But we don't take trades on a monthly, so we go to the weekly. And on the weekly, things are a little bit different. Why? What can we see? We could see that on a weekly we have a perfect trend line where price move range. We broke out of this range, and then now we are back onto the same trend line. So which tells me that we are at a key level of support. And at a key level of support, we don't just buy at support. We sell at resistance. Sorry, we don't sell at my mistake. We don't sell at support. We buy at support. And trend line is a key support when it comes to trading. So the question is, are we going to push all the way back, or we are going to get that card strength that is just going to take out this trend line and we continue to sell? For me, it's very simple. Like I said, my buyer, since on a monthly I have the price has the potential of falling all the way back to this lower part of the range, then my bias on USD card stands for only sales. I am not going to look for any buys, even though we are at a key level of support trend line. I am not going to look for any buys. All that I'm going to look for is sales. So what do I mean? We could see that previously price has been in this range where we test here, we dropped, test here, we dropped, test here, we dropped, test here, we dropped, and finally we broke above. We broke above, price went to create, let me sort of zoom out the chart. Price broke above the range Price broke above the range and created